Okay. Oh, never heard that before. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Be Your Own Hero. So this is a 5-day webinar series that I've been doing for quite some time now. And it's something that I'd put on for, absolutely free in order to arm you with the tools that you need to self-regulate yourself, particularly when things are stressful and chaotic, which let's face it, that's been the last 18 months for most people. So over the next 5 days, what we're going to do is I'm going to go through step by step the very best tools that I have. And different ones will apply to, obviously there'll be different things over the next 5 days that apply to you more than others, but I'm building a foundation here for you. It's not just like we pick one tool and we use it once and cool, we're done. This is like going to the gym. The more you use it, the better you get at it, and the more it becomes part of your existence. Because really, when we're able to self-regulate and when we're able to work out what specifically is stressing us out and the reasons why, and we have the tools to implement to do something about it, all of a sudden we're able to transcend where we're at right now and make decisions from like our higher mind, not our fight or flight response. And when we're able to do that, I've over the past, I've been running this course here for over 5 years now. I've just watched things unfold for people. All of a sudden there was opportunities where before it just felt like chaos and, restriction and just basically stress. So, being your own hero is the name of this name of the next 5 days. And the reason is because I think we can all agree that nobody is going to save us. We have to learn how to save ourselves. And there's so much online at the moment about, different things that you can do. But what I'm going to do here is give you a step-by-step process that you can implement right away over the next 5 days. Now, the reason I do this over 5 days is because when you get a piece of information and then you're given the opportunity to actually try it on for size, work it out for you, come back, ask questions, that's how you integrate things. Okay. If I was just to dump this all on you in, a couple of hours, it would probably feel quite overwhelming and you wouldn't actually have a chance to work it out for yourself. It would be a case of like, okay, that was good information. I could see how that would work, but you don't actually get a chance to do it. So thanks for showing up, everyone that's here. I know that there's about 95 of you in the group that have joined in the last week. So most of you are on the replay. I know 10 a.m. on a Tuesday isn't really the best time for a lot of people, but that's okay. We're on replay. Evenings are kind of out for me these days. So welcome if you're on the replay, and thanks so much for being here. So obviously, with the way that the world is, there's lots of challenges for many people at the moment in all different forms. Okay. And the purpose of this group is we're not going to get political or do anything like that. The purpose is to work out specifically what is triggering you and for me to help you with the tools on how to actually pull that back into alignment and so that you can transcend it. So today we're going to be talking about, there's really two things that stress us out. Okay. The first one is when our values are challenged. And the second one is our beliefs that we've made, of what we've assigned to our values. Okay. So what's important to you and your beliefs around that are really the only two things that stress us out. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, I could almost guarantee with certainty that there's been things that have stressed everybody that's here out over the last couple of years. Like who would have ever thought that our world would be in this place? Most of us know, but yet here we are. And so if we just give you the tools step by step on what you can do to transcend whatever it is that you're going through, and this applies to anything, by the way, whether it be work challenges, family disagreements. We're going to be working on conflict resolution towards the end of the week. We're going to be looking at fears, guilt, shame. Those are probably the three biggest emotions that I find keep us stuck. And also when we're in fear, shame, and guilt, my observation is consistently that when people are trapped in those three emotions, that what happens is that they start to do things that are not normal for them. Okay. Has anyone witnessed this either within themselves or someone else? Have you kind of noticed that when people are fearful or when they're feeling shameful or feeling guilty, they start to behave in ways that are not really consistent with who they are? And I say, have you ever seen someone else do it? Because it's always easier to pinpoint it when it's somebody else. So this is going to give you the tools that we can transcend that. And these processes are super, super easy. Now, the other thing is I am accessible for the next 5 days. I clear my calendar out so that I can show up for you. And this is a great opportunity. Usually my hourly rate, is, in the hundreds. So this is an opportunity to get like free mindset coaching. There's no strings attached. It's what I do, is that I show up in this week and I'm absolutely available. Now, if you can, I'm just going to let you know if you can be available on Thursday and Friday, because I've got something for those that are on the call. So if you're on the replay right now, please try to show up for those days, or jump on the replay as soon as you can, because I do have something special for everyone that does show up on those days. So I'm just giving you the heads up so you can mark those days in your calendar right now. So thanks for being here. I'm really inspired that so many of you have jumped into this group. I know many of you will be watching on the replay, and I'm looking forward to serving you in whatever way that I can. Okay, whatever it is that you're going through right now, I'm looking forward to showing up in my very best capacity so that I can help you move through whatever it is that you're going through. Okay, just a quick bit of background about me, because I know there's lots of new faces in the group. My background is I've been doing mindset coaching for about 12 years now. I've learned from some of the world's, very best people in the personal development world. Done a lot of work with Dr. John DeMartini. I've, Joe Dispenza, William Whitecloud. I've, covered a lot of the, the best people in the personal development world. But I'm also in my final year doing cognitive neuroscience and health psychology at the moment. So kind of have my foot in both camps, Reiki master. So I feel like I'm everything right through from the real woo-woo right to like really scientific and everything in between. So that's my background. And I've worked with thousands of people over the past decade. And even on this particular course, we've had almost 2,000 people go through this course over the past 5 years. So this was something that I started doing when I had my first baby almost 6 years ago. And I've never looked back. I love working with everyone online because it's just makes it so much easier for us to get together than having to find a venue and make sure everyone's free. So means that you guys can jump on the the replays. So yeah, welcome to those that are on the replays. And if that is you, by all means, stay engaged. Also, those that are engaged, if you do leave comments in the group and let me know how you're going. If you're on the replay and you can't make it to Thursday or Friday, but you've been actively involved, I will still honor the special gift that I have for you all on Thursday and Friday. Okay, so there's an incentive so that we know where you're at and that you can stay with the group. Okay, enough about that. Enough about the housekeeping and all the rest of it. Let's get into today's topic, because today we're going to be talking. Today and tomorrow is where we're going to look at what is stressing us out, and then so today, tomorrow, we're looking at the what, and then the following 3 days, we're going to be looking at the how, exactly what to do. Now, the reason I don't just jump straight into the how is because it's really important that we have a foundation. Once we kind of know what's going on and we have some visuals around what's actually going on within our own psychology, and by the way, also within other people's as well, because hey, we've all been, we don't just live in a bubble. We're not just dealing with our own stress here. We're dealing with other people's as well. We're dealing with families. We're dealing with work colleagues. We're dealing with, just people that are irrational when you go out in public. There's all sorts of crazy shit going on at the moment. And so when we can sort of see what's going on, all of a sudden you don't take things so personally, because you're like, oh, that's what's going on for them. So then you start to realize that was never about me. That's not my stuff. That's just whatever they're going through. So I won't say let it go, because I always believe, when people say, oh, you've just got to let that go, I always think that that's a crock of shit, because the thing is, if you've truly transcended something, there's nothing to let go of. Okay, so that's the secret. That's how you know that you're done. Okay, so values is where we're going to begin for today. So when I'm talking about values, I'm not talking about like social ideologies of, you know, honesty, kindness, all of that sort of thing. What I'm talking about is what's actually valuable to you. What's the most important thing to you? And generally they fit within 7 areas of life. So that would be your spirituality. For some people, that's a really high value. Your learning, like your ability to learn new things. You know, are you somebody that loves doing courses, loves learning new things? Do you study? All of these sorts of things. Do you read, you know, do you read sort of, you know, textbooks as opposed to novels? Do you love learning? Then your vocation or your career, your financial side of things, your family, your social life, and then also your physical. So physical is health, well-being, and appearance. Now, the thing about your values, and straight away, as I've said, those 7, you'll probably find that there's some that you really resonate with. But the thing about your values is that all of a sudden, if there was something that wasn't that important to you, and all of a sudden I took that away from you today, it would become super important. So let me give you an example. If you're somebody that's like, you know, if you're somebody that's quite spiritual, you're quite into like health and well-being, and family is really important to you, and you're not really like that attached to, you know, material things and money and that sort of stuff. But if all of a sudden you looked at your bank account in 5 minutes and you saw that it was completely drained and all of your savings were gone, and, you know, and that like, where's all my money gone? All of a sudden, would you agree that your finances would become a little bit more important? You'd be ringing the bank and finding out what the hell's going on, where'd my money go? So as soon as something's taken away from us, it becomes a lot more important. That's where our focus is. So our voids drive our values. Whatever we perceive is missing is what becomes valuable. You know, just loosely. Now, by all means, those that are online today, stop me if you do have any questions. But I'm going to jump in and draw a quick diagram around this. Okay, so a little whiteboard here. So in the middle, we have our mind. Okay, we've got our mind in the middle. We've all got one of those. And we've got high values, and then we have low values. Okay, so the things that are low on our values, if somebody takes them away, or sort of, you know, or like if we're challenged in those areas, we don't feel our buttons pushed quite the same as when it's a high value. You know, I mean, what's an example of a high value? You know, anyone that's got kids, generally they're a pretty high value. Somebody challenges your kids or something happens there, and that shoots straight to the top of the list. So when we are challenged, when our mind is balanced, we're in a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay, we've all had moments of feeling that way. We just feel centered. We just feel like at ease with the world. Then, as we begin to infatuate, or do infatuate, because that's like the fun side to talk about. So when we start to infatuate with something, what's really happening in our mind is that we're starting to polarize our perceptions, and we're starting to see that something has 2 benefits to 1 drawback, and then 3 benefits to 1 drawback, 4-to-1, 5-to-1, 6-to-1, and then 7-to-1. So by the time we're up there, we're really polarized. You know, we're looking at a circumstance or a situation and we're going, wow, like this has all these benefits and no drawbacks, you know, like, or maybe 1, but that's kind of insignificant. Now, the example I always use for this one is when you very first get into a relationship. Like, you know, when you're first in a relationship and you can only see the upside, you can only see the benefits. Or when you land your dream job, that's another good example, when you leave, you know, where you land that dream job and it's like all going to be great and everything's going to be perfect. It's because we're looking at the world through a polarized lens. Okay, now when I say a polarized lens, what is available to us, our subconscious? Now, this figure does vary, and this is from Joe Dispenza. I've heard over the years of me following his work, this figure has changed because science starts to learn more. Subconsciously, in any given moment, we're taking in around 3 billion bits of information. There is so much information available to us that we're just consciously not aware of. Now, what we're consciously aware of is something like, I don't know, between 40 and 1,000 bits of information, somewhere between those figures. I don't know. I don't think science has an exact number on that, but it's pretty low in comparison, because the difference between, let's just even say it's 1,000, the difference between 1,000 bits of information and 3 billion is statistically insignificant. Like, they are just miles apart. So what is our filter? This is really what we're filtering out in our reality, is that we filter our reality through our values, what's important to us, and our beliefs of what we've made that mean. Okay, is this making sense to everyone so far? Yep. Okay, cool. Stop me if I'm going too fast, or if there's anything that you're kind of not getting. Okay, so this is our filter. When something is supporting our values and is in alignment with our belief systems, we're like, yay, that's awesome. There's a flip side. Okay, there's a flip side. So that's when something's supporting us. When something's supporting us, we label it as good. When something is challenging us, okay, so we seek out that which supports us, right? And we all do that. We all naturally seek out the things which support our values and, and feel good. And, we naturally seek these things out. That's just what everyone does. And down here, we have the challenges that we avoid. So I'll use this same scale, and just so that I've explained it equally on both sides, is that when we have one benefit and two drawbacks, we're starting to go, oh, that's starting to feel a little uncomfortable, but I'm okay. 1 to 3 gets slightly more uncomfortable. 1 to 4, that's one benefit to 4 drawbacks to our highest values. Then we've got 1 to 5, 1 to 6, and 1 to 7. By the time we're in 1 to 7, we are really polarized. That is all bad and there's no good in it. Okay, and that's when our beliefs and our values are being challenged. Now, when you're down here, when your beliefs and your values are being challenged, what's happening inside your brain is essentially, let's just say if you were in physical danger right now and we were able to have you hooked up to a brain scanner right now. Let's just say, I don't know, what's a good example? There's a lion in front of you and it's about to eat you. I mean, it's basic stuff, isn't it? We know that we'd be shitting ourselves. If we were able to scan your brain in that moment, the exact same parts of your brain would be lighting up. If you were physically threatened with death, the same parts would be lit up if your beliefs and values were challenged, okay? That's how attached we get to them. We get so attached to them that it's not funny. And when you're in it, like, I mean, we're all human. I mean, I know this stuff and I still find myself down here. Like it's challenging to get out. But once you've got this diagram, you can start to go, okay, that's what's actually going on right now. This, like, my values and my beliefs are being challenged right now. And that's why I'm down here. That's why I'm feeling really, really polarized. Now, this is part of your animal mind. This is not your higher consciousness, but this is part of your animal mind, because when you're able to take that or that and bring it back to the center and be in a 1-to-1 ratio, something opens up for you. Okay, this is where the magic happens. Because what's available to you when you're in that centered is you have access to your soul. You have access to your purpose. You have access to your higher mind. I'll call it your higher mind. I'll just do HM for higher mind. You have access to something that isn't available to you when you're out there. Okay. So that is an art form in itself. First of all, being able to recognize when you're out here. And then what I'm going to be showing you over the next few days is how to take yourself from there to there, or there to there. Because when you're out here, I liken it to, I mean, probably the easiest analogy that I find is like, if you're trying to, like right now, if you're trying to watch this, you know, whether you're on the phone or on your laptop or whatever you're watching me on, if you were running around the room right now, like running around the room, going from there to there, you'd be finding it really hard to concentrate and see what's going on. This diagram wouldn't be making much sense. Now, can I just, this is really important, so just pay attention for this. To the degree that your mind is down there, there will be another part of your mind that you're not consciously aware of that's up here, that's investing into a fantasy. So when you're down here and everything's looking terrible and you're thinking, you know, the world is caving in on me, you'll have a fantasy of someone's going to save me. something's going to save me. Okay. So your mind gets very polarized. Has anyone noticed that happening within their own psychology, that they've kind of oscillated ever between things are terrible, but something awesome's going to happen? Now, you may not always be consciously aware of that. Okay. But it is in there. Okay. Because your mind is always balanced. Okay. Everything in the universe is always balanced. It's just our perception which starts to distort things through our awareness of our beliefs and our values. Okay. Likewise, if you're up there and you're in a fantasy with something, you will also have the equal and opposite nightmare that something is going to be bad and take it away. That's why we're in a fantasy. We don't want to let go. We hold on so tight. Both of these areas are not serving you. The key is when you're down there, you know that feels uncomfortable and you want to get out of it. The trick is that when you're up there, it kind of feels really nice. Like, you know, because that's when the endorphins and the dopamine and all those feel-good hormones are just going mental. And that's when you feel really good. So sometimes when this is happening, we're like, this feels right. I must be on the right path. And then something will happen to snap us back to the middle. Okay, so the key is recognizing when you're up here, recognizing when you're down there, and using the tools and strategies to get yourself back to the center so that you can attune with your soul's purpose. Okay, you're empowered when you're here. This is disempowering. This is very disempowering, but you are empowered when you're here. Now, there's another element to this, which I won't go into in too much detail for today, but I think it's very important just to make mention of it, that there's another part. We've got your soul, we've got your mind, but we've also got your body. Okay, because when you're in a 1-to-1 ratio, you are sending really clear, or, you know, and by the way, we're never all permanently in a 1-to-1 ratio, but when you're hovering around this zone, when you're sort of reasonably self-regulated, you're sending pretty clear and concise signals to your physical body. But when you're out here, the messages are a little bit more scattered. And that's when we start to notice signs and symptoms happening within our body. I mean, look, science has already proven that stress is the #1 reason that people get sick. Okay. I don't really, has everyone heard of this? Okay, cool. I don't really need to talk about that too much. I mean, if I said that 10 years ago, people would go, what? No, it's genetic. But what's turning our genes on and off? Okay, so stress is the #1 reason that we get sick. This is stress. Your mind is up here and your mind is down there in a nutshell. Okay. Is this making sense to everyone so far? Is this valuable information? And when it's going in, like, just keep in mind, like, you know, people, even if this is the first time you've heard it, it probably, there's just an innate part of us that goes, yep, like, yep, this is the first time I've heard that, but that's like, I just know this to be true. Because when we hear truth, it just resonates with ourselves. Like, we just know instantly. If this doesn't feel true to you and you're on the replay, challenge me on it. I love some good questions. I love finding out what's going on for people. So this is when our values and our beliefs are challenged. This is it in a nutshell. Now, when you've got that diagram in your mind, now I will just take a quick photo of that and send that into the group so you've got a visual of that. If you're keeping notes, write it in your notebook, because when you have the visual of this, what you can start to do is go, okay, I'm stressed, I'm down here. What question do I need to ask myself to get myself back there? Okay, because thoughts, feelings, perceptions are just our version of events. Okay. Truth is when we can approximate the center and see both sides, but know what our soul's purpose is and see how this is serving us. See how this is serving us in that big picture. And for those of you that are feeling like you were like, even, I mean, yes, the larger world is in chaos at the moment. I don't think we need to sort of, you know, really, I don't think we really need to argue that one. You know, there's lots of stuff going on a global level. But if we can bring it back down and look at our own personal world, okay, because we can't, first of all, we change the world by changing ourselves, okay? So if the world is in chaos, which is out here, has anyone else noticed this, that the world's in chaos? So when the world's out here, the best thing that we can do is to bring ourselves back to there, okay? Because then we're not creating it. We're not adding to the problem. So if you want to change the world, just change yourself and bring yourself back to the center, because I can guarantee if enough people wake up and start living their soul's purpose, none of this crazy shit can happen. Okay, because if you've got a whole army of people around the globe that are like, do you know what, we're not going to worry about what's going on, you know, like in the media or, you know, with this or that, we're just going to follow our soul's purpose and find out how this can serve us and get us on our way. Imagine if that happened. Imagine if more people just started to do that. You know, the vibration around the globe changes instantly. And this is possible. There are lots of people working on this right now behind the scenes. You know, they're generally, you know, the people that are finding this, the people that are on this path are the ones that, you know, you may not notice that they're doing it, but just all of a sudden you'll notice something's changed. What's happened to my friend? Something's different. So be that person, be that inspiration for somebody, be that inspiration where you go, I'm just going to quietly change and I'm going to quietly find my soul's purpose and I'm going to stay in alignment with that, because I know that that's where my power is. Yeah, there's lots of other things on a physical level, you know, like I know that there's lots of people right now, you know, talking about, you know, different, you know, common law and different things like that you can do to empower yourself. But this is how we're going to empower ourselves emotionally and spiritually. This is one thing that we can do right now, okay, is to find that middle ground. Okay, so what's the first step? I'm going to give you all the steps right now. I'm going to give you all the steps, but then I'm going to break it down piece by piece, and we're going to build this over the next few days. The very first step is to know what your values are. Okay, I'm going to post up a worksheet, and that is today's challenge, if you like, in terms to be your own hero, is know what's important to you. Okay, you would be surprised when I start to ask you questions about yourself and what you think about, what you talk about, what you spend your time, your money on, your energy on. You would be amazed at how people go, oh, I'm actually not sure. So that's going to be today's challenge. I will post the worksheet into the group. Once you've got your top 3, I want to know what your top 3 values are, because that's going to be where your stresses lie. Okay, that's also going to be where your infatuations lie. You'll be infatuated with that all being perfect, and you'll be stressed when you perceive that it's not perfect. Okay, but we're going to find you a middle ground. Okay, so the first thing is know what your values are. The second thing is to pinpoint with accuracy what your beliefs are. Okay, what are your beliefs? What are your limiting beliefs? Now, by the way, beliefs are those things that once we have awareness of what they are, we can start to do something about them, because they're really hard to change. Okay, has anyone here done belief work around belief systems? It's one of those things that, have you, Lynn, have you heard the term limiting beliefs? Have you heard about that? Okay, well, okay, thanks. That's really good to know. Sometimes, yeah, so basically a belief system is the way that we see the world and what we believe to be true. Okay. Now your beliefs often, not often, your beliefs, the majority of your beliefs, probably 90% of them, are laid down before the age of 2, and almost 100% of them before the age of 6. Now, if we have a look, oh, do you know what? I've got a new laptop last week because my laptop broke after 10 years and I don't have my little diagram. Usually I'd pick it up and screen share with you. Let me just explain it to you. So essentially a small baby's brainwaves are the same as if I was a really skilled hypnotherapist and I was able to put you right under so that we were just accessing your subconscious. That's the speed that that a baby's brainwaves are going at up until about the age of 2. So up until the age of 2, you are purely living out of your subconscious. Okay, and you see a small baby, they have no awareness of where they begin and where they end. Like, you ever see a small baby when they realize they've got a hand and they're like, what? Like, whoa, you know, and they start to get this body awareness, I think at around sort of around 6 months. And they're like, wow, I've got this body. Up until then, they're just, you know, like, and this is when you're seeing them start to come out of their subconscious. Then you're still in your subconscious up until the age of 6. And then from 6 to 12, you go into your imagination. And you will notice that a kid up until the age of 12 won't really understand sarcasm. Has anyone been around small kids to notice that little kids don't do sarcasm with them, because that's going in literally. They have no concept of that was a joke. Okay. And then after that, that's when you start going into that adult, you know, your brainwaves speed up and you can take in information. So in those very early childhood years, we start to form beliefs about the world, okay, about how people are, how we need to be in the world, what things mean. Now, I can guarantee now, and most of these come from your parents, either your mother or your father or whoever raised you. Now, I don't know about you. I mean, I've got pretty good parents, I would say. But if I was going to be doing hypnosis about laying down my foundation of what I believe about the world, I would not choose my mum and dad to run that session. Okay, I would absolutely not choose my mum and dad. But that's basically what we've done. Our mum and dad have basically imprinted all of these belief systems about the world, and we just take them on as gospel unless we have had a significant cataclysmic event where something is now. And I know with certainty, if I went through your beliefs and quizzed you and quizzed your parents on your beliefs, they would be almost identical, unless you had had some significant event in your life which had got you to see the other side and shifted your beliefs about the world. Okay, that's the only time that they change. Okay, so this is about understanding what's going on, understanding what these belief systems are for you and these markers so that you can navigate your way through the world. Now, I know Tash has just gone onto her photo now. I know, you know, Tash has been doing some work with me around this. And sometimes just knowing what your beliefs are and seeing, that's a belief system playing out there. That's why I reacted in that way. And by the way that you're reacting to your belief systems right now is the same way that you were when you're a kid. You know, we do that. Has anyone noticed that they get stressed and all of a sudden, you know, it's like we regress. We go back into our toddler and we start like throwing a tanty like a toddler. Come on, am I the only one that's done that? Cool. Okay, you didn't leave me hanging. Thank you. So we're not going to change who we are. We don't want to change you. You're not broken. What we want to do is help you understand who you are, understand what beliefs are running the show, and work out where your soul's purpose is and help you navigate towards that and start seeing things as not being challenges which are keeping you stuck, but start seeing everything as being on the way for you, not in the way. Because I know, even though the world is in chaos right now, I know, you know, like that this is a huge blessing for many people. You're just not aware of it right now. And the reason that I say that with absolute certainty is over my years of working with this, the very best clients that I have are the ones that are in absolute chaos. When their lives are turning to shit and they've just lost their house and they've lost their marriage and they've gone bankrupt, or their partner's died, or they've just found out that they've got cancer, or, you know, those ones there that are in absolute chaos, that many mindset coaches will go, oh, I don't want to work with that. They're the ones that I'm like, bring it on, because they're the ones that if they're ready. Now, by the way, and that's not a judgment, because not everyone is ready for this. You know, it takes a special kind of person to go, I'm ready to lean into my stuff and not try to avoid it. And there's no judgment. Okay. If you are not there, by all means, stay for the week, but don't judge yourself. There's no right or wrong. You know, other people have, I think sometimes things get so bad that people just go, I've had enough. I'm not going to look at, I've had enough. Whatever I'm doing is not working. You might not be there yet, and that's okay. There's absolutely no judgment. But if you're ready to lean into your shit and start and look at it and process it from a different perspective, and you can navigate your way back here, that is absolutely majestic. That is magical. That is off the Richter. There is so much accessible to you. So finding that in amongst all the chaos, and I know that seems like a pretty big claim right now, but I've seen it happen that many times. And when I work with people, my certainty that is accessible to you. I mean, if you're right now, you're going, oh yeah, Donna, but you don't know what I've been going through. Well, what's so special about you that it works for everyone else, but not you? You know, ask yourself that. Why are you so special that this would work for everyone else? And over the next few days, I'm going to share some stories about clients that have been in that situation. Like one that came to mind is a client that I just touched base with her just very quickly this morning. And I know when she very, very first started doing this work, and she was like, had, is it fibromyalgia? Yeah, where your body is like just aching all the time, and chronic fatigue on top of that. She'd lost her house, she'd lost her marriage, she was living in a rental, in a job that she hated, was volunteering in a job that she loved but couldn't work out how she was going to get paid for it. And piece by piece, we just took each one of her perceptions and brought them back to the middle. And then all of a sudden she noticed that her body wasn't hurting as much anymore and that she actually had energy to go surfing. And then all of a sudden she started to see that maybe it was actually a benefit that I lost all my money in my marriage, because I had a lot of fake friends and it really wasn't authentic to me. This is it in a nutshell. I mean, I know that that sounds like very, simplistic. There was a lot more that we went into it with her. And then all of a sudden as she started to approximate the center, she started to see, actually, there is a way that I can live my soul's purpose. And now the business that she used to volunteer at because she used to love it, she now owns and is getting ready to franchise it throughout Australia. So, that was someone that went from like, when I met her, she was like, I'm at rock bottom. I don't know how this is going to work for me. I was like, it works. If you're ready, this will work. Okay, so tonight we're going to look at our values. Tomorrow we're going to look at our belief systems. Okay, then day 3, we're going to start to look at fears. Okay, whatever fears you have, do you have fears around your work? Do you have fears around your health? Do you have fears around your family? Whatever your fears are, I'm going to show you a step-by-step process, but we need to do the first 2 days first before that will make sense. Then we're going to look at shame and guilt on day 4. And then we're going to look at conflict resolution. Has anyone over the past month or so been in conflict with people? Has this been something that's, has this been something that's come up recently, like workplaces, people around you, whatever it is? I don't think it takes too far these days to get into conflict, because there's many differing opinions out there about the way things should be handled, what people should be doing, what other people should be doing. There's a lot of conflict just out there in the world. You just have to jump on social media and it doesn't take long before you see, people fighting. Whereas before, people just used to get along. All of a sudden, everyone else's business, or your business is everyone else's business. So we're going to be working on that as well. And by then, I feel certain that I will have given you the very best foundation that you can take this work and use it to self-regulate when you find yourself down there or up there. Okay, does that sound like valuable to everyone? Okay, because this is a roadmap. Okay, this is your roadmap to your soul's purpose. Because it's like, say for example, if you were like all of a sudden one day, okay, I've got to go somewhere on the other side, on the other side of the city. I've never been to this. Let's just say you're meeting a friend for lunch or something like that. I've never been to this cafe before and I've got to go there. If you just jumped in your car and you kind of knew that it was over that way, what are your chances of getting there? Pretty low. But if you just like pull out your maps, punch in the address and see exactly where you've got to go, you know that you'll be going, depends. Sometimes Google Maps does take us on the milkman's run, but you'll be kind of getting there pretty efficiently, right? And it's the same as that. If you know kind of what direction you're heading in, but you're not really sure, you're going to be all over the place and you're going to be much more susceptible to that. So knowing your soul's purpose and being able to navigate whatever stresses are happening right now in relation to that is how you are going to get into alignment and get where you're going with a lot more efficiency. And when you're in that place, you're less susceptible to stresses because you're on purpose. Okay. Have you noticed that when you're really focused on something, when you're like, okay, I'm doing this, all of a sudden when little stresses come in, you keep your eyes on the prize and you're less susceptible to random stuff. Whereas when you're kind of like drifting a bit, if you've ever found yourself in one of those places in life where you just feel like, I'm kind of drifting, you're more susceptible to other people's chaos. You get sucked into other people's dramas much more easily. Okay. So does this sound valuable? Does this sound like this is going to be a good week for everyone? Okay, so if you're on the replay, let us know what your intention is. If everyone can let us know what their intention is and what their top 3 values are. So please set an intention for this week. Okay. My intention is that I'm going to give you the very best of what I've learned over this past, well, I mean, I've been learning this for more than 12 years. I've just been doing this as a job for 12 years. Personal development and understanding the mind and why we think the way that we do and how to transcend that. I remember in high school when my friends were reading, novels, I was sort of, reading personal development books because I was just fascinated by it. The idea that we could think in a particular way and create a life that we wanted has always been fascinating to me. And I really feel with certainty that I've mastered this and I've now got it in a formula that I can share with you, that you can have that too. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. That's here live. And thank you to those that are on the replay. And I'm really looking forward to sharing the next 5 days with you. So thanks so much for being here. And if you, by the way, before I do wrap it up, I know that I've gone a little bit over, but does anyone have any questions or any shares, anything that kind of struck out for them today or stuck out as being something that, really resonated with them? Has anyone got anything like that they wanted to share or a question? No, okay, that's all good. That's no problems at all. Well, by all means, if you go away, whatever happens for you over tonight, if you rock up tomorrow and you've got any questions, I will open up the session with a quick Q&A so that you can so that we can make sure that you have integrated all of that and it's making sense. Okay, so thanks so much, everyone, for being here. Wonderful to see your faces. Thanks for those that are on the replay, and have a great day, and I'll see you same time tomorrow. Bye.